So, fun fact, Hitler and Napoleon both had one testicle. Now, considering the fact that these guys are in the history books and they shook the world to its core in the name of wars, I do have one very weird question. Now, that one was more of a personal bit just to start this thing off, but the real question is, do I really need to get into leadership and trade away, one of the sources of my kids just so that I can get into power and shake the world? Because clearly, if that's the case, then I don't know if I really want to do that. Because I love my testicles. I like the fact that one of them is slightly above the other. It shows how inequality has also affected my nuts. It's a very weird place to be right now because I want to be a great person, but I don't want to lose one of my nuts. But anyways, let me stop overthinking this and start the podcast because we have a lot to talk about. Welcome to Break Time on West Side, your number one break time podcast, coming to you from Nairobi, Kenya. The man on the mic is a man whose favorite form of cardio has moved beyond just running his mouth, and now he is starting to skip leg day. He is a man who has been looking for the A spot but might be closer to the G. It is none other than your tall, dark and mildly handsome Sir Denver B. The show is Tweetstreet, the show where we take a deep dive into Twitter, pull up a bunch of tweets, break them down real quick for you, and give you some sense out of it. Now, you know the drill if you've been listening for this long of a time. If it's your first time listening, it's okay. I can still repeat it for you because I'm nice like that. When you're on Twitter and you see a tweet that you'd want us to talk about, the drill is pretty simple. You just send it to the DMs of @Bagaka the D. The B and the D are capital. That's it. I will take it and I will break it down from there. If you feel like you want to do a little bit extra and you want to send it through the IGs, or maybe it's a screenshot that you got on the IGs and you want to send it through the IGs, you can send it to the @Breaktime on Westside IG page. I will pick it from there and I will work on it accordingly. Now, before I get into the first tweet of this episode, I would like to do two things. Firstly, congratulate whoever it is that won the US presidential election because, well, this was recorded before they won. So whether it's Biden, whether it's Trump, I'm guessing Kanye isn't getting this one, but you know what, there's better luck next time. And it was already good that he vied, and may the best man win, as is the spirit of most competitions. Now, secondly, there was this post that I saw online which kind of went back to something that I've heard quite a number of different girls saying, which kind of pisses me off to a certain extent. And it was about this baby who was talking about how she used to have a male best friend who stopped talking to her all of a sudden, and nowadays posts himself up with a bunch of different ladies and all. Now, she claimed to not have an understanding as to why it is their friendship ended and was busy wondering why. And I do kind of have to just bring out the fact that I'm still surprised that women can continue acting like they didn't know what was going on in the background. Because even you know that you were just throwing this guy into the friend zone when he probably already expressed the fact that he had some sort of feelings for you. It's one of those things that usually gets to piss me off when someone comes in complaining, oh, I lost such a good friend, blah, blah, blah. And you know very well this person has feelings for you, but you want to continue dragging them on because you suddenly feel like they're so good as a friend and they'd probably ditch their feelings for that. And yes, I get it. There's nothing wrong with having a friend of the opposite sex, but sometimes you need to ask yourself if friendship is really what they want. And it did kind of occur to me that the solution to the friend zone has been at the tips of our noses this entire time and we've ignored it. And it's very, very simple. It's honesty. Being honest with yourself and being honest with the other person. Because if you were honest with the other person and you told them, you know what, I've had feelings for you ever since day one and I've always wanted to be with you, and I genuinely am your friend simply because I want to be with you and I hope that there's a chance, and you get your yes or your no, you'd probably be a lot better off. But most people are a little too chicken to just come out and say, you know what, I genuinely have feelings for you. And most people are also too chicken to come out and say, you know what, I genuinely will not bang you. You're more like a brother to me than anything, or you're more like a sister to me. I wouldn't do any of that with you. and just let that person leave and go and live their life. Sometimes you actually help people and prevent them from wasting months and possibly even years simply just chasing the wind, because some people usually like to get into the friend zone and want to play the so-called long game just so that they can get a babe, which usually ends up backfiring because it's like a 1 in 10,000 chance that you'll get away from the friend zone. So honestly, I find it tough how people can manage to do that. Just be honest with the other person, and also be honest with yourself. Tell yourself, you know what, it's fine. In as much as I want this babe, she clearly doesn't see me in that way. As much as I might want this guy, he clearly doesn't see me in that way, and probably does not see me as a suitable partner. So even though she's saying that I should wait for her because she just got dumped and she's having a bad time, blah blah blah, even though she said that she's working on some issues, even though she said that maybe we can be friends first, I should probably take that as utter BS and just move on. And I kid you not, there'll be a lot fewer people in the friend zone, and there's a pretty good chance the friend zone will actually stop existing. But anyways, some people are gonna continue just throwing themselves in the friend zone because they're a little too chicken to take rejection as is. But anyways, on to the first tweet. People want relationships so they can cheat. Being promiscuous without the thrill of getting caught is not exciting enough. Well, this is true. This is actually quite true. And this was something that I realized after talking to a couple of ladies and them being open and saying that single people actually don't hit on them with as much vigor as people who are taken and or married. Because those guys apparently really push the bounds. And I do kind of have to admit, for us single people, it's a lot easier. You go, you hit on someone, they reject you, you walk away and you move on. With a married person, they'll go, they'll see you once, they'll see you twice, they'll see you 3 times, they'll hit on you. They'll be like, how about you come back to my place, blah, blah, blah. Or we can get this hotel room, blah, blah, blah. You tell them, no, I don't do married guys. Then they'll make another approach. They'll buy you drinks. They'll offer you dinner. They'll send you flowers. And then at some point, maybe you just decide to say yes. And then they start doing whatever it is they promised to do to you for a bit of a while. But as single people, we barely put any work into it. And I think to some degree, this could be a pretty good reason why they'll actually go and put the work into it. Because the whole idea of the forbidden fruit sounding so much sweeter just comes into play a hell of a lot more here. Because you're a single person and you're being promiscuous and you're banging a lot of different people and you're enjoying your life that way. It seems like it's a fairly normal way to survive, but when you're hearing someone is philandering around, there's a certain level of an adrenaline rush where it's like, I could get caught, but I'm not caught, but it could happen. So I do kind of get the sense in this. Of course, people will cheat for various other reasons. Sometimes it's a problem with a partner, sometimes the person's just a serial cheat. And for others, they could just feel like they have so much love, they should probably spread it around. Or maybe they have so much of the private part that they should probably spread it around. Just saying. Because clearly someone has to. But anyways, let's move it on to the next tweet. An honest man needs no perfume. He has no sins to hide. He showers and works hard and smells like hard work. He will attract a hard-working woman. He must aspire to the bowl, not the flower. Shower with bar soap and leave the rest to God. You will be okay. Well, unfortunately, I have to tell my fellow men that this is as much BS as the thought process that it came from. Because clearly, this is the best way to not attract women. This is the kind of advice that you give someone when you don't want them to hit on someone, or you want them to hit on someone and then fail so that you can step in and succeed. Because I've spoken to a lot of girls, and by all means, it's also been used in research that actually smelling good increases your chances of attracting another mate. Regardless of whether they're high value or low value, it's always a good way to attract a mate. There's a reason why people have classified vanilla as one of the best scents to have around you, because it's one of the most universally liked scents. There's a reason why people actually have a science that goes into scents and why there's a business of perfumes. It's because people actually like it. You going and smelling like bar soap and sweat only ever attracts I don't know, the washing lady to come and wash your clothes, because clearly it shows that there might be an issue there, or there might be an impending issue that you're gonna need to sort out, and she just happens to be the person to sort it out. So if you're one of the person that believes in such, then I'm sorry. This whole you have to be tough and gritty and go through the mud and work hard and plow through a farm and deal with bricks the entire time for you to be called a real man, then by all means, welcome to 1759 and forget about the modern lifestyle. Because I think it's now commonplace knowledge that you don't necessarily have to be the strongest in the village, or have to go and lift rocks and, I don't know, push bricks or go kill a lion to prove that you're a real man. Sometimes just carrying yourself well and being a gentleman and actually making sure that you look good and you're well groomed is usually where it's all at. Because if you're looking for a high value woman, then you probably need to look like a high value man. And if you want to look like a high value man, then you should probably also smell like a high value man, because whoever wants to go out on a date with someone wearing a suit, smelling like the day's problems and whatever charcoal they were busy lifting and tossing around. I honestly don't think that I need to be attracted to men to actually kind of know that, because I think to some degree this is what people call common sense, and it's just good to look and smell good. The whole idea of smelling like today's problems or the day's issues is a bit of a past thing. The only reason why you'd not want to have a good fragrance on you is probably because you want to smell like the day's problems, and whoever wants to be associated with problems. But anyways, I guess if that's how some people want to live, then we might as well just let them do that. So let's move it on to the next tweet. So next tweet: sex is just a plus, not a priority. Thank you for attending this class. Okay, unfortunately I also have to disagree on this one, because I don't think everyone views it as a bonus in as much as you do, because there's some people that look at it as a primary thing. There's a reason why nowadays sexual compatibility is a very, very key thing to look at, because a lot of people have gotten into situations where they're with a partner that they might love or enjoy being with, but because they're very crappy in the bedroom, it pushes them to an extent where they start philandering outside of the marriage. They go and they start cheating and everything. Because you look at how some people perceive the idea of sex and the idea of the conjugal relations, and there's a certain sense of ignorance in thinking that everyone has the same level of sex drive and everyone views sex the same exact way. There's people that would love to be pounded 2 times every day for the rest of their lives. And on top of that, they wouldn't mind an extra third act on a couple of different special days just to keep things a little bit spicy. But at the same time, there's people who wouldn't exactly do that. They'd much rather prefer doing it like once a month just to ensure that their organs still function the same exact way. And we have to be accommodative of both sides. Otherwise, we might as well be okay with telling the typical married couple that once they get into the marriage, there's nothing wrong with them getting an additional sex partner, because, as the lady said, sex is just a bonus. It's not a priority. So we might as well get someone that just happens to help with that bonus, because clearly it's a bonus. So why the hell should I bother getting it from my wife if I can get it from a bonus person? You know, I know it sounds like very crappy logic, but this is the same kind of logic that leads some people to think that, oh, you know, it's not all about sex. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it is all about sex. And while you continue moving around claiming that you have a thing for douchebags and all your boyfriends cheat on you and men are the problem could actually be that you're just a very bad sexual partner. And you're going to ignore that fact, and you're going to continue thinking that it's a bonus and not a priority. But for some people, it's that big of a priority that if you cannot give it to them, they will go and look for it somewhere else, especially if the frequency is just bad. So please, if you feel like sex is not a priority, then that's okay. But remember that that's a you thing, but it's not an everyone thing. It's not universal. Some people could not live without sex for the entirety of a week, while there's people that can go for years without it and not even get bothered even once. Anyways, on to the next tweet. Words of affirmation don't just have to be, your hair reminds me of the smooth bed I lay on when I was born. Sometimes it can be something as simple as good job or way to go when your partner does something really good. I actually do agree with this, especially considering that I've been with people who've sort of expected things one way or another. Obviously, there's people that are a little bit more artistic. There's people that expect a certain level of poetry to a compliment. So when you tell them that they look good, they think of it as just a regular thing that you tell someone because they actually do look good. Sort of like telling them good morning because you woke up. And for others, you tell them that they look amazing and they're like, oh my goodness, thank you so much. I really like that. I appreciate the fact that you actually pay attention to how I look, blah, blah, blah. And both sides actually do exist. And I'm glad that this person who posted up this tweet acknowledged the fact that both sides exist. Because words of affirmation can sometimes be a little bit of a weird love language because some people understand it different ways. Some people expect to receive a compliment every few hours or expect to be told some special thing every so often. And yet for others, words of affirmation can be very, very simple and be kept almost basic just by saying, I love how you made dinner, or I like the way you ride me, or I like how well you've been treating me over these past few days. Stuff like that. Something simple. And I think most people who go for a partner should probably pay attention to such things. And this is why reading someone's Instagram captions is actually quite useful. Because if you find that they're busy talking about a sea of life and the stars that were their eyes, blah, 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 on their captions, you should probably prepare yourself for the kind of person that you'd be trying to shoot your shot on. Because some of these people don't usually muck about with those compliments, and they expect something of that exact same caliber. They expect some level of poetry. It's sort of the same exact way there's some girls that wouldn't take a compliment that's less than you look gorgeous or you look ravishing, and there's others that will be super okay with hearing you say, God damn, that ass look bigger than a motherfucker. Like, there's people that are into that. So maybe the next time you want to shoot your shot with someone, you should probably pay attention to some of those things. Otherwise, you'll end up finding yourself shooting your shot with the wrong person, then ending up in a zone where the sea is full of sand, the dunes are high, and there's barely anything you can see, and the only oasis that you have is the bottle of lotion that is next to you. Just saying. But anyways, thank you so much for sticking with us all the way till the end of Tweetstreet. If you have any tweets that you would like us to break down, you can drop your comments and feedback on the IG handle at Breaktime on Westside. The Facebook page to get us on is also Breaktime on Westside, and on Twitter you can hit me up on my personal DMs at BagakaTheD. If you use Castbox, be sure to drop your comments there as well. So until the next episode, I will catch you guys on the next break. Take care.